Sir, thank you very much for your time, and the floor is yours.
Hello, friends. So my name is Vinay Nangia, and I started with UPSC interviews in 2003, and I had been going there on a regular basis up to 2016, which included a couple of Indian Forest Services, the first CAPF in 2011, and obviously number of normal your CSE interviews of IAS officers, etc. So it had been a long experience, and as the luck would have it, things have not changed much in terms of the conduct of the interview. There's no major change which has taken place. When we were students, Indian Foreign Service was at number 1, and Indian Administrative Service and Indian Police Service were more or less at par. Because at that time, Superintendent of Police was not generally directly reporting to the DM at that point of time. I'm talking about 1970s. But later on, the situation has changed, and the IPS in terms of hierarchy has gone down in relation to IAS, which you are very well aware. What you may not know is that Indian Forest Service is quite respected in the eyes of IAS officer, which you may not know. So an IAS officer has possibly higher regard for Indian Forest Service as compared to not only Indian Revenue Service, but even in relation to sometimes Indian Police Service. So that's another change which has taken place in terms of understanding of these situations. What has changed in last, I think, 4 or 5 years is Indian Revenue Service. Earlier, direct taxes, income tax was taken as a higher priority by the candidates. And in last 3, 4, 5 years, indirect taxation, which is still written in your form as custom and excise, or it has become now GST. So that name is not changed, but the name has remained the same. So that has become a priority over direct taxes by the candidate. So that is that change. In terms of DAF forms, when we see, especially in mock interviews, because last 5 years I have also been taking mock interviews, we see it as a, category B service, B class service, like Dynix, being shown as a priority over A class services like information service, like defense state service, and those kind of services. People prefer to go to Pondicherry or to Delhi and Andaman, etc. over that. So that is also there. Now, whether it is right or wrong, I am not talking about it. But very often in the coaching centers, this is discussed and debated at great length. That what reason will you give if you are asked why did you choose Pondicherry over Indian Defense Management or Indian Railway Management Service or Defense State Service, that is A category service, and it is a common sense that A is a higher and better service than B category. Why did you opt for B? So this kind of discussion and debate takes place very often in mock interviews. Please note that in my 13 years of going to UPSC, this question was not even once asked. And to my understanding, this question is not at all asked. So don't waste your time, energy on this question, because I've seen candidates wasting half their time and energy only on this question. So this question is not at all relevant. If you want to prepare for it, maybe spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes on that, not more than that. Don't waste all your time and energy sorting out this. Another important thing is when we sit inside and when we take interview, we are called advisors. And an advisor is called for a week. Week means Monday to Friday. Saturday, Sunday is closed. And Monday to Friday, the boards change. The president of the board, the right nomenclature is president, which most of the time you hear chairman. So the president of the board is a UPSC member. And we as advisors are taken into his room and interview takes place. The president, who is the president of the board, that board, sits in his room, whichever room he is sitting in, UPSC building. And there are 4 more members. Out of those 4 members, 2 members are almost always from service. Indian, you see, one of them will be Indian Administrative Service senior person, mostly retired secretary, sometimes could be retired additional secretary, Government of India, or chief secretary from a state, but an IAS officer, and very rare, really additional chief secretary from state government. Okay, so that is 1 person out of 4. The second person very often is IPS officer, sometimes could be IRS also, sometimes could be Forest Service also, and sometimes could be from other service, but mostly a civil servant, right? Now you are left with 2 more. So these 2 more are, one of them is necessarily an academician, people like me, coming from, management or law background. And the other person is quite often from science or engineering background. Now they may come from NIT, IIT. IIM professors don't come there, so forget about IIM. NIT, IIT, and or sometimes from CSIR labs, or sometimes some other important labs in the country. So these 2 persons are non-civil servants. So this is the composition of the board, generally speaking. And each candidate is given half an hour. Slots are fixed 10 to 1, 3 hours, 6 candidates, 1 to 2 lunch, 2 to 5, again 3 hours, 6 candidates. So you have 12 candidates in one board in one day. Okay. Monday is the only time when instead of 12, there are 11 candidates, because the briefing of the advisors are given by the chairman of UPSC in a conference room, where he introduces UPSC members to the advisors. There's a room there in UPSC building called advisors room, which is normally next to the gate. There are 2-3 gates which are meant for this purpose. You enter from one gate as a candidate. We have another gate. Employees have another gate. So near the gate, there are advisors room. So there are mostly 2 advisors room, where when we go there, either lunchtime or morning, we reach earlier. Newspapers and magazines are kept there. So one of the things you must be ready with is, must read that day's newspaper, because advisor would have definitely read, because he sits in that room. घर में वो पढ़े ना पढ़े अखबार, वहां पर उसको टाइम मिल जाता है. तो that day's news you must be right. So Monday, we are asked to report 9 o'clock, 9:30 we are taken to a conference room. Chairman UPSC introduces us to the members of UPSC, and members of UPSC sit in the inner periphery, others sit in the outer periphery. So number of boards will depend on the number of UPSC member available for taking interviews. Like right now, you have chairman plus 6 members in UPSC. So maybe you may have 4 or 5 boards, hopefully this time, because not all members may be sitting in the board. So I would expect, personally, I may expect about 4 or 5 members to be making 5 boards. Okay, this time there could be 5 boards. So 5 board means in 1 week, you have 12 into 4, 48 plus 11, 59 candidates in 1 week in 1 board. Now you multiply this and you will get to know how long your interviews will continue. So you get a fairly good idea. Most of the times it is 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. Most of the time it's 6 or 7, sometimes 8 weeks. Okay, so that is the length of the interview time taken. Okay, so I think I've given you a broad idea about the system and setup. Are you fit to be an officer in the Indian Civil Service or not? So that's what is expected of you. So I mean, अगर शुद्ध हिंदी में बोले तो आपको चलने की तमीज है कि नहीं, बात करने की तमीज है कि नहीं, आप चलते कैसे हैं, आते कैसे हैं, बैठते कैसे हैं, बात कैसे करते हैं. These things are not told but they are counted. हम लोगों को ऐसी कोई गाइडेंस नहीं दी जाती कि आप देखेंगे कि बंदा कैसे आ रहा है, उसके आप नंबर देंगे कि नहीं देंगे, कपड़े ठीक से पहने कि नहीं नंबर देंगे. वी आर नॉट टोल्ड ऑल दैट, बट ऑब्वियसली इट गेट्स इनटू द इन द सबकॉन्शियस माइंड दैट ये बंदा है कपड़े ठीक से पहन नहीं सकता, ये क्या ऑफिसर बनेगा. Okay, now we go to DAF, which is where you have come here. So what you have is called DAF II, right? So I don't think I need to discuss DAF 1 with you. We've already done. DAF II is the name of this form, okay? And please remember, what is this DAF II? What is this DAF II? Tell me. ये है क्या DAF II? क्या चीज है? Exactly. This is nothing but your CV. Please remember, in any selection process, there are two important steps. There are many steps, of course. I'm not going about the early stages. But there's a CV, which is your introduction, who you are. That is what is your CV. So you start with your introduction, and this is nothing but your CV. Mind it. And why is it in a certain format? So that there could be comparison amongst all. Not that this man makes 15-page CV, which is very exhaustive, and this man makes half-page CV. We don't even know what he is writing. तो उसको यूनिफॉर्मिटी देने के लिए एक स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म इन्होंने बनाया है, that is called detailed application form 2. And this, as I was telling you, I have not seen it change in a very, very long period of time. At least 2016 when I went there last, it was the same. So you can imagine, 2003 से देख रहा हूँ मैं, अभी बदला नहीं, कुछ नहीं बदला. There are few issues in that. For example, when you fill it up, so for first time when I saw it, I was shocked to see everything was in capital. Why capital? भाई आप CV आप पूरा अपना capital में तो नहीं लिखते हो, लेकिन ये पूरा capital में आता है. So you know it looks funny, but that's the fact of life. That has not been changed. That has not been changed. So there are things you can't help it. So you can't help it. You can't help it. So DAF is nothing but a CV. And please remember, CV is a passport. It is not a visa. CV is a passport. It is not a visa. So this DAF, if you fill it up properly, every single word you fill up or every single word written, including which you have not even filled up, will invite questions. पेंसिल सिर्फ भरिए और हर चीज जो आपने भरी है उसमें अपने आप से पूछिए इस पे क्या क्वेश्चन बनेंगे, और जहां आपको लगे आप फंस रहे हैं तो अपना रिस्पॉन्स इरेजर से हटा के पेंसिल से चेंज करके लिखिए. बिकॉज द रॉन्ग थिंग्स व्हिच यू विल राइट हियर without thinking will invite such questions where you will get stuck. Don't sit on the machine and do it in one go. Please do it rough. Print out लेके भरिए उसको, 10 बार सोचिए इसमें से क्या सवाल बनेंगे, अगर ये ठीक नहीं बनता इसको हटा दीजिए, उसकी जगह दूसरी चीजें रखिए. स्पेशली इन द एरिया ऑफ हॉबीज एंड एरियाज ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, और जहाँ पे मतलब सब्जेक्टिव चीजें हैं वहां तो, जहाँ ऑब्जेक्टिव जहाँ आपका मदर किस डिस्ट्रिक्ट की है, यू कांट चेंज इट, या डेट ऑफ बर्थ आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते, फॉरगेट वो दोस्त थिंग. बट things which can invite a lot of questions, you have to be extra careful. Now, if we start from here, the first item is Union Public Service Commission. If I ask you what is commission, can you tell me? Have you prepared? What is commission? I'm cautioning you, I'm challenging you. If you are wanting to prepare, prepare properly. Why is it union? Why is it union government? What is the difference between union and central and federal? Questions. इसी में से बता रहा हूं, अभी तो आपने भरना भी नहीं शुरू किया. What is union government? Why do we call it union? Union word आया कहां से? अमेरिका में फेडरल है, हमारा फेडरेटेड स्ट्रक्चर है, फिर भी हम फेडरल गवर्नमेंट नहीं बोलते, हम यूनियन गवर्नमेंट बोलते हैं, कभी हम सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट बोलते हैं. इन सब में अंतर क्या है आपको पता होना चाहिए. Just to caution you, why I am taking you on this is you should know every single word is a question. So your eyes and ears should be open to this logic. Okay, so I will not go beyond that. I was just sharing with the director here that when I used to go there, I had a favorite question that UPSC की building गोल है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट की बिल्डिंग भी गोल है, इंडिया का पार्लियामेंट भी गोल है. Why? So UPSC की बिल्डिंग से क्वेश्चन निकला है. अब यूपीएससी की बिल्डिंग अगर आप देखेंगे उसमें 2 गोले हैं. आपको पता है 2 गोले हैं कि नहीं? इतने साल से यूपीएससी की तैयारी कर रहे हो. यूपीएससी की बिल्डिंग में 2 गोले हैं और दोनों गोलों में क्या अंतर है आपको पता है कि नहीं पता? एक गोले में मेंबर बैठते हैं, दूसरे गोले में स्टाफ बैठते हैं. ओके. यूपीएससी आपके एग्जाम लेने के अलावा क्या करता है आपको पता है? यूपीएससी कब बना था? क्यों बना था? Who was the first Indian who qualified for Indian civil service? When was the name changed from Indian civil service to Indian administrative service? I think you should be knowing these things. Not that questions may come from here. Questions may come from anywhere for that matter. But if I am first time I am going there, मेरे जैसा आदमी तो यहीं से सवाल पूछना शुरू कर देगा, तो आप फंस जाओगे. You better be prepared. Okay, so this is just to again give you a feel of it. Now it is written qualified for personality test within bracket interviews. Now this year they have changed it. Interviews को within bracket कर दिया. Last year ये था personality test oblique interview. Anyway, you don't get into that. Please understand, this is not an interview. This is a personality test. That should be very clear in your mind. And what's the difference between interview? Interview is we are, interviewing each other, looking at each other. So it is a conversation. If I'm asking her something she is not understanding, she will ask me to clarify. She may ask me counter question. Like corporate job, she may say, what is my career path in your company? That's interview. There is not an interview. Please remember, this is a personality test. So what is a personality test? Coming back to his question, your personality is being assessed for the suitability of the service. Okay? You may be a genius, you may be an outstanding person, but you don't fit into our administrative service. So we may not select you despite you being a genius in your own way, right? So personality test is to check the personality, assess the personality for the suitability of the service for which you are applying. Okay, so this is a personality test. There are many other aspects to it. For example, in case of interview, quite often these days, it's very unfortunate because I sit on interviews for all kinds of things, including MBA admission, faculty selection, corporate jobs, senior government positions. The candidate keeps on speaking and speaking and speaking. This is very unfortunate. But this is what is happening. It's very unfortunate. I don't know why. Especially this MBA culture is so bad that they are on the aggressive. They'll keep on speaking without realizing what they're talking. So most of the time, interviewer has to stop to be able to ask either clarification or next question. But here in this interview, you will not do that. You will speak to the point. You will, again, I think you will learn it in mocks also, that take a pause. अब वो pause भी इतना लंबा ना हो कि वो बैठे हुए लोग बोर हो जाएं. Take a small pause. Why pause? Okay, why pause? So one dimension is to be able to get time to think and frame the answer. But more important than that is, that's like giving respect to the other person. कि ऐसा नहीं हमने आपका question भी पूरा नहीं सुना और हम बड़ बंदूक की तरह चल पड़े. Which happens in other interviews, regularly happens. Especially when I go for MBA admission, I am reminded of a particular incident. Pooja, I forgot to tell you last time. JNU MBA first batch, 2019. I was taking interview and one boy came with spikes on his head. Very funny looking, and he was so aggressive as if he is attacking on us all the time. So I finally asked him, मैंने कहा तुमने कहीं coaching ली है? बोला yes sir. Then he told the name of the coach on his own. So I said, what did he tell you? He said, sir, he told me fake it till you make it. I mean, after taking interviews for 40 odd years, I felt like falling down from the chair. He's been coached, fake it till you make it. Now this guy is 2019 की बात है, JNU के MBA admissions की. So what happens in this particular case, you are taking a pause to give respect to the person on the other side. It's not only getting time. Yes, getting time is very important to be able to frame the answer, but it should not be too long a pause कि वो uncomfortable हो जाए, right? So here it goes differently, and here your answers should be जिसको बोलते हैं नपे तुले शब्दों में होना चाहिए. It must be to the point. It must be comprehensive, and one of the things which is never told in any of the coaching center and mock interviews, please note that. In fact, one of my students who cracked it, he cracked it because of that. You see, you anticipate the question. Okay. You anticipate the question. For example, one standard question in any interview, anywhere could be, please tell us something about yourself. Right? यहाँ पर नहीं होगा. बहुत कम chance है कि यहाँ ये सवाल होगा. Because when you enter, the president of the board reads out, Mr. Such and such, you are from such and such place, etc., etc. And he makes you feel comfortable. And please remember, ये जो आपको so-called stress interview वगैरह का ज्ञान दिया जाता है, सब बेवकूफी की बातें हैं. I'm putting it plainly. Because stress interview नहीं होते हैं. The purpose there is to find out the best of you, not to harass you. So don't get into all that nonsense of stress interviews, and nobody is harassing you there. They are getting the best out of you. So this question, tell us something about yourself, is most often not asked here in UPSC, which is asked almost everywhere. Tell us something about yourself. That reminds me of a small incident. Again, I think I'll quote you. I was attending a faculty selection interview in Pantnagar University. And the Vice Chancellor was very famous, who was 2 terms Indian Council of Agriculture Research Director General, and a very, very, very enlightened scientist of our country, who was requested by Harish Rawat, had to change the legislature to adjust him to make him the Vice Chancellor. And Dr. Mangla Rai had even turned around Pantnagar University in 3 to 6 months' time. He was there. And in this interview, I was sitting on one side of Dr. Mangla Rai, and Kumayu University management head, I'm forgetting his name. He was sitting, Professor Kavi Dayal. He was sitting on the other side. And a female candidate came in. And this lady must be in 30s, early 30s, very good sari, very well dressed, very nice lady. She sat down. And Dr. Mangla Rai asks her, tell us something. For a moment, I was taken aback because he used the word, tell us something. So he did not say, tell us something about yourself. And I mean, it was a very good learning experience for me also, because by then I'd taken so many interviews. Tell us something. So this lady was sharp. She picked up. She said, sir, should I tell you something about myself? Then this gentleman tells her in Hindi, हाँ, कुछ कहिए. Again, he did not say about you. So this lady finally talked about herself. Anyway, interview was over. Later on, I was reflecting on it. I thought it was a great opportunity to her. She could have asked anything. Nobody said, tell us about yourself. And she missed the bus, because she could have said, sir, in the last 6 months, you have come here, you have turned around this university. And if you don't mind, can I ask you what is your vision for the next 3 years? You see, you can turn the tables if you're smart. She missed that opportunity. Though she got selected because she was good anyways. But I remember that incident. तो आप शब्दों को ध्यान से सुनते हैं कि नहीं? So the moral of the story is, do you catch what the other guy is asking? She could catch. I was very happy about it, because 99.9% of the time people want to say what they want to say without listening to the other person. That's a human tendency. हमें जो आता है हम वो बताना चाहते हैं, ना कि वो बताना चाहते हैं जो सामने वाला जानना चाहता है. जैसे कि मैं डैफ के बारे में आपको नहीं बता रहा, इंटरव्यू के बारे में बता रहा हूँ. Right? So anyway, that's in the lighter vein. So tell us something about yourself if it is asked. I said rare, but it may happen. How will you respond to that? That's my question to you. And if you're not prepared for it, I'm sure you will goof it up. अब आप बताइए आपको कितनी देर में जवाब देना चाहिए इस प्रश्न का? You've been asked, tell us something about yourself. President of the board is asking you, tell us something about yourself. How much time should you take? What should you talk? Yeah. So it has to be in relation to the total length of the interview. अगर आपका टोटल इंटरव्यू 10 मिनट का हो रहा है तो आप 3 मिनट नहीं बोल सकते अपने बारे में, तब आप 1 मिनट से भी कम में बोलेंगे. इंटरव्यू आपका 30 मिनट का हो रहा है, अगर आप 2-3 मिनट अपने बारे में बोलते हैं तो इट इज नॉट आउट ऑफ द वे. What is important is always please remember when you frame your answers, the first sentence and the last sentence are critical, mind it. The first sentence and the last sentence are the critical, and the reason is very simple. जब आप पहला सेंटेंस बोलते हैं तो जितने मेंबर्स बैठे होते हैं सबके आंख और कान आपके ऊपर लगे होते हैं, और जब आप लास्ट सेंटेंस बोलते हैं और उनकी बारी ना आ जाए इसलिए लास्ट सेंटेंस पे भी उनके आंख और कान आपके ऊपर लगे होते हैं. बीच में ह्यूमन बीइंग माइंड कहीं पे भी चला जाता है. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड पैकेजिंग द आंसर. So first and the last. Okay. Now, if you had responded to this question, tell us something about yourself. Whatever you may have said, please make a register, write it down, keep it refining. पहली बार अगर आपने 10 सेंटेंस लिखे, उसमें जो इंग्लिश लिखी, अगली बार पढ़ोगे तो आपको लगेगा यार ये वर्ड ठीक नहीं है, इसको सब्स्टिट्यूट करके ये बोलना चाहिए, ये सेंटेंस लंबा हो गया, इसको छोटा कर. You'll keep on refining it, keep on doing it. It's very simple on computer these days, it hardly matters, but it's better to do it in a register by hand, because if you write with your pen, you will remember it. If you put it in computer, you may not remember it. That's another difference. So please keep on refining your answer. Next step is, if you were on the other side, अगला सवाल आप उसमें से क्या पूछते उसको anticipate करिए, और वो 2-3 सवाल निकालिए कि क्या हो सकते हैं, फिर उनके जवाब बनाइए आप, फिर उनको रिफाइन करिए. If you get into this habit of refining your answers, you would have learned the trick of answering. This is a process. एक बार प्रोसेस समझ में आ गया तो हर जगह आपका प्रोसेस तो वही अप्लाई करेगा ना, कि आप सुनते हैं ध्यान से, उसको समझते हैं, उसको वर्ड्स में डालते हैं, वर्ड्स को इंप्रूव करते हैं, फिर उसकी पैकेजिंग करते हैं और फिर उसका जवाब देते हैं. So if you keep on doing this, you'll become expert of this. So my suggestion to you, in fact, one of my students is a senior IPS officer now. He came back and he told me, sir, आपने ये बताया था, ये मैंने किया, मेरे पास 3 रजिस्टर थे. He told me that. So one was on personal, one was on professional, one was on academic. So उसने 3 रजिस्टर बनाए. So anyway, so this is one suggestion which I'm telling you. Now coming back to the form. One of the very bad things I have seen is the photograph. मॉक में हमने गंदे, बहुत गंदे और सबसे गंदे फोटो देखे हैं. मतलब अच्छा तो कोई रेयरली दे. I don't know why. Why don't you have common sense to put a good photograph? किसी की टी शर्ट में कुछ लिखा हुआ है बकवास, किसी ने बाल भी ठीक से नहीं बनाया. You becoming officer यार, you should know how to conduct yourself. फोटो लगानी भी नहीं आती आपको. Photograph, please, my request to you. I would say in my last 5 years of mock, 90% of the photographs I've seen are bad. 90%. Okay? I don't know. I mean, it's plain, simple, common sense. भाई फोटो तो ठीक से लगा. How much does it take? Few hours. कहीं जाके ठीक से फोटो खिंचवा लो. अच्छी फोटो लगा दो. What's the big deal? The photograph is one. Now you come to name. Name is the first point where the questions may start rolling out, especially if your name is slightly off the normal names. The questions may come there, and questions could be, what are the synonyms of this? Can you recite or can you quote a poem on this name? Or whatever kind of questions may come. नाम से questions बनते हैं और काफी रेगुलरली पूछे जाते हैं. तो अपने नाम के ऊपर कंसंट्रेट करिए, उससे कनेक्टेड जो भी चीजें निकल सकती हैं. आपका नाम अशोक है तो आपसे अशोक वृक्ष के बारे में पूछ लिया जाएगा. अब डू यू नो अशोका रोड जो है दिल्ली में, उसमें अशोक वृक्ष लगे होंगे, आपको पता है ये बात? नो, आई मीन इट मे टेक यू टू दैट also. So your name will definitely attract questions, and please anticipate questions and start writing now. And that you can take help of your siblings, you can take help of your friends. कि यार इसमें क्या क्वेश्चन बन सकते हैं? You can go to ChatGPT, you can try all those things and try to challenge yourself by asking difficult questions, then finding out various alternative answers, then picking up the right words and then packaging it. And believe me, if you have done that, you can crack any interview anywhere, not only UPSC. So naam ho gaya, email again. I would not recommend funny kind of email IDs like smarty@gmail.com or whatever, people are having funny kind of emails. So please put it as far as possible, simple and proper email ID. The reason is it should not attract a question. If you write Smarty, obviously the person on the other side will say, is Smarty your nickname? Or whatever he may ask you. So it may unnecessarily. What happens when an interviewer is asking you a useless question, like this is a useless question. He is asking you, is your nickname Smarty? Supposing he is asking you this question, whatever answer you may give. The point is you have lost that opportunity of being interviewed on a good question which you had prepared. ये तो बकवास वाला क्वेश्चन है, आप फालतू चीज लिख रहे हो, वो फालतू चीज पूछ रहे हैं, दोनों का टाइम वेस्ट. So your personality is not being assessed. It goes against you. So don't waste the opportunity. Convert it into a good opportunity. So email ID should be written properly, right? Then mother tongue, of course, mother tongue will take you to India में constitution में कितनी languages हैं, last कौन सी add हुई. Again, anticipate questions on languages. One wrong thing which you stated is, if I try to be short and crisp, you got no business either to be short or to be crisp. You have to be right. So it's not question of your choice that if I try to be short and crisp, I will get more questions. That's your presumption. If I get more questions, my interview will be better. That's your presumption, which is absolutely wrong. So many of the times, many of the candidates think that if they don't know the answer, their interview has gone bad. I think all of you would be sooner or later asking me question, if I don't know the answer, what should I say? I think this is a normal thing you will be asking. So if you have said, no, I don't know, no, I don't know, no, I don't know, is it a bad interview? No. Because everybody is not expected to know everything. See, I may be good in certain things, but certain things I just don't know anything about. For example, religion, I know nothing about religion. So if there's a question on religion, I'll have to say, I don't know anything. I mean, I don't know. It's as simple as that. So it is not question of number of questions which you answer, which was your original question. If you answer more questions, interview is better. Not at all. It is the quality of the answers which you are giving. It is the quality of the answer. Your personality is being tested, not your general knowledge or factual knowledge. Mind it. Now, general knowledge, factual knowledge, if it is presented in a decent, nice manner, at an appropriate manner, at an appropriate point of time, in a decent manner, you win this thing. So questions may be only 5 or 10. I mean, that reminds me of only one incident which was very funny. I will never forget that. We were taking interview of a gentleman, and we were 4 members, and almost everybody had interviewed, and the interview was very bad. Very bad in the sense we were almost certain that this guy is gone. Last was that year Additional Chief Secretary of Maharashtra retired. That lady was there. And somehow she was asking gender question. आजकल तो DEI वगैरह नया आ गया. पुराने जमाने में जेंडर के क्वेश्चन पूछे नहीं जाते थे. She asked gender related question. And this guy, the way he answered, and then she asked counter question. Again, the way he answered, and she asked counter question. Then again, she This guy answered. All of us had to change our opinion about the candidate. This happened only once in my entire experience. But now this is luck also. If he was not asked that question, maybe he was written off in that interview because all of us did not like him. But last interviewer, that lady, asked a question which this guy was so nicely answering every time, every counter question. So it was the quality of the answer to that question that changed our entire board's perception. So it is not number minded. It is not knowing minded. It is what you know. How do you put it across? That is more important, right? So I hope I have answered your question. Okay. Then place of birth. Now, place of birth, this is very important because this will certainly attract questions. Madam, which place you are from? Tirupati. Now, she is from Tirupati. So obviously, the discussion may go on the religious side or the temple side or the prasad side or what is the economy of the Tirupati district? Is it due to tourism or there's something else? So like this lady must know Tirupati in terms of geographic contiguity of districts. Tirupati is part of which division or commissionary? What is the population of Tirupati? What are the tourist spots of Tirupati? What is the economy of Tirupati? Okay. What is the contribution to the state GDP of Tirupati in their state? Any and everything relating to Tirupati has to be prepared. So that register which you are preparing, where you are writing anticipated questions, Tirupati is very, very, very important. Tirupati will take you to the state then the state, state water disputes, then many other things will come. But economy is going to be very important. So this will invite questions and you learn to anticipate question on your birthplace, which are almost certain to be asked. Some or the other member is most likely to ask you. Name of father, etc., etc. Then father's service and income. And these are very important things because many times I've seen the boy is writing his father is having a business. Okay, it's a common thing. Now, if he writes business, does he define which business? Okay, choice is there. You want to define it. You want to invite questions, you write the name of the business. So, if there's a professor like me, he will definitely ask what is the turnover of your business, right? And my experience is 99% of the candidates don't even know the meaning of the word turnover. They don't even know the meaning of the word turnover. So if you're going to become officer, बिजनेस की इतनी भी आपको अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है कि टर्नओवर क्या होता है, और अगर मैं पूछूं आपके फादर का बिजनेस का टर्नओवर क्या है, आप मेरे को ये भी नहीं बता सकते. एंड इफ आई आस्क यू what form of legal form of business your father is having, is it partnership or is it a company? Obviously, the next question is it private limited company or is it public limited company? So if your father is in business, business related questions will immediately crop up. It may be relating to the product, it may be relating to the service, it may be relating to the revenue, it may be relating to the number of employees, it may be relating to what is so unique about your business. What do you do? Do you help your father or not? If you do help your father, आपके DAF में कहीं और कहीं achievement में आया है कि नहीं आया? You see, these guys are sharp. They can always connect things. So when you're filling up DAF, and if you are wanting to show certain qualities which you displayed in your own business, it could have been at 2-3 places. For that, because you are inviting questions. They must ask you in that area because you are prepared. So your preparation and DAF, they have to go hand in glove. So I'm just giving example of business because you see, even if you don't participate in the business of your father, if you don't know turnover, एनुअल इनकम यू आर फिलिंग अप, ओके? फादर की एनुअल इनकम आप देख रहे हो, बिजनेस की एनुअल इनकम आपको पता नहीं है, इसका मतलब यू आर डिफ्रॉडिंग, दैट मींस समथिंग इज रॉन्ग. And as an adult, you don't even know what business your father is doing. So that's a reflection on your intellect. So you got to be smarter on that. And this holds good. Not only that, business, it can also be on service. Your father is a police constable, for example, and you are not opting for IPS at all, for example. Though again, this question is normally not asked, will not be asked, but you should be ready to answer it. Why is it that you don't want to go to uniform service? So, whatever profession your parents may be in, you should have knowledge about that. Your father was a soldier, or he was a junior commissioned officer in Indian Army. Next question will be, please tell us the ranks of commissioned officers, starting from, he'll smile, he'll want to know, second lieutenant आप बोलते हो, lieutenant आप बोलते हो, because second lieutenant is no more a position now. It used to be a rank earlier. What is the difference between rank and designation? Now, this is a natural question. What is the difference between rank and designation? Anticipate these questions. So your father's profession, your mother's profession, whatever questions may come out of that. What is the highest rank of the general? So if you say field marshal, next question would be, is field marshal 4-star general or is he a 3-star general? You should be able to say he's a 4 or 5-star general. Okay. So ranks के साथ उनके even police for that matter. Now between ASI, assistant sub-inspector, inspector, when do the piping change? When do the stars change? So if you are connected in some way with these services, uniform services, you should have knowledge. If you're not connected, you may not go out of the way to learn these things. That is also true. Because chances are DAF से ही तो पूछेगा वो. Right? So your father's profession, your mother's profession, all that is going to be very important. Now, any questions you have on page 1? Yeah.
Because my father is in transferable job. He is in BSF. So my place of birth is in Punjab, but I originally belong from some other place. So I have mentioned place of birth as Punjab. So I have to prepare both the places to the same depth, or because I have been there just for 2-3 years in Punjab.
You see, as I said, whatever is written will invite question.
Okay.
Now you have been there only 2-3 years. Nobody knows about it. You can't take that as an excuse. You have to prepare. So there's no escape to that. Okay. So BSF, again, you may have lots of questions coming because of the uniform service. And BSF are in which borders? And how is BSF different from other, central? How is it different from Seema Sashastra Bal, or how is it different from CISF and all those things, right? So you have to prepare for all those things. And again, if you're really smart, you would know that IPS officers go and they occupy the top positions in these organizations. Now, coaching centers may wrongly tell you to prepare for that, but that question will never be asked. You know the latest jagda, because BSF top ranks, they are not wanting IPS to come. So latest is 50-50 kar diya. So 50% will come from IPS, 50% will rise from within. This is the latest which has happened in BSF. So it is less likely that this question will be asked. If it is asked, you have to answer it. It is an organizational change which has taken places based on the experiences of the. आपको non-plussed, non-biased answer देना है इस बार. आपको ये नहीं बोलना झगड़े हुए, वहां पे असंतोष था, इसलिए प्रॉब्लम हुए, आईपीएस के खिलाफ बड़ी बगावत हो रही थी. You cannot be answering like that. So you will have to say that they have taken a call internally to reorganize the system, And they have come to the conclusion that possibly the people from within should be given more opportunities to rise. That is how this reorganization is taking place. That's the way to answer. I hope it's clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, I've not written it anywhere in the DAF, but I have spent 11 years of my life in West Bengal.
Huh.
So is it possible that during the question answers they can, because my father also has a transferable job, so they can actually ascertain that yes, I have other states as well, which would mean that I should also prepare for it even though I have not written.
I don't know, you have opportunity if you go to page number 2 and 3. Okay. When they are asking for your other interest and those kind of things. So you can bring in West Bengal somewhere in some other form if you want to talk about West Bengal.
I would like to keep the preparation focused on some of the more obvious, like for example my place of birth and all. So West Bengal would be an entirely new state which I would need to prepare. So my question was.
See, let me give a broader answer to your question because this will apply to all of you. These kind of situations when they come, you have the choice of putting those things where you want to invite the attention of the other party. Where you don't want to invite the attention of the other party, skip it in the DAF. Okay, that is a broader answer. For example, now if you have done something after DAF is submitted and something has happened, maybe you got some award, you did some achievement, you completed some course or something has happened. Now, when you were asked, if at all you are asked that question, tell us something about yourself, then you said, sir, in my DAF, this is not included. I thought I'll update you on that. So you can take opportunity of telling such things as and when you get an opportunity, but you will not go out of the way to tell these things. So your West Bengal, how you want to handle is entirely up to you, whether through DAF, without DAF, or you don't want to touch it, don't touch it. But in discussion, if it comes that you stayed there for 11 years and you don't know anything about West Bengal, that's a poor reflection on you. So I would think, if I were in your place, I would still prepare about West Bengal on a broader level in terms of what is the percentage of population West Bengal has as part of India, how big the state is, how many districts are there, what is the size of the economy. Broadly, I would spend 1 page on my register on West Bengal. Whether question is asked or not asked, I would know at least that much, which at least shows that I am aware. I am not zero. So I will go to that length irrespective of DAF, no DAF, question or no question. That's how I will handle it. And not only Amartya Sen, it will invite you question on Nobel Prize winners, it will invite you question on economics, right?
Yes,
it will invite you question on Nalanda University.
Mm-hmm.
It will invite you question on Shantiniketan. It will definitely invite question because one of the 5 members is bound to ask.
Okay.
You can't go free. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you will have to prepare on all aspects. What I suggest to you is, please, all of you, I am sure, would be using Wikipedia. Please use Wikipedia in a limited way because there is wrong information in Wikipedia. Wikipedia के नीचे जो references होते हैं, हमेशा उसको पकड़ो, उसमें से original पे जाओ और वहां से आप तैयारी करो. Right?
Yes.
So there are very interesting facts about this gentleman. Amartya Sen, there are very interesting facts about this gentleman, and you should always come out with something which the other party does not know. आपकी value वहीं पर होती है. जब आप घिसी-पिटी चीजें सुनाते हो, तो ठीक है. I mean, like, at least you are knowledgeable. You're not zero. If you don't even know, then very bad. But if you tell something very different, let me give you an example. And today I am telling you a mool mantra for preparing for interview, and that is about visiting the government websites, which is again not told to you in mock interview. Visiting government websites, because luckily you guys have time. What do you see in the government websites? Can any one of you tell me, I don't know if there's anybody MBBS here or not, can any one of you tell me what is the government of India's health policy? That's my question. What is the health policy of government?
So with the diversity of coverage, it like the flagship right now is the Ayushman Bharat scheme, which talks about the universal health insurance.
That's a scheme. I'm talking about policy. Yeah.
So one of the aspect is to increase the GDP or contribution towards health to 3.5%. Then focus more towards preventive.
I repeat my question. What is the health policy of government of India?
To provide primary healthcare services directly and outsource secondary and tertiary healthcare via the Ayushman Bharat scheme.
You know from where did he start? Did you notice that? Yeah.
2017.
तो राइट सो अगर आप किसी चीज को बोलते हैं और अगर आप ठीक से नहीं बोलते उसकी कोई वैल्यू नहीं होती. आप हवा में बात कर रहे हैं, 3 आपने उसके पर्पस बता दिए. The moment he said 2017, he scored marks. Now let me ask you, if I ask all of you just one question, can you tell me anything outstanding about National Education Policy 2020? That's my question to you. That's my challenge to you. मैं घिसा हुआ क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ रहा, what do you know about NEP 2020? I am not asking that. I am asking any outstanding feature of NEP 2020.
Sir, NEP, which was released in 2020 to promote critical thinking. To promote critical thinking, mainly focuses on multi-dimensional approach towards education, and to provide flexibility to student in their academic choices.
अब ये एकदम घिसा पिटा थर्ड रेट आंसर. आई एम सॉरी फॉर दैट. And this is what makes difference in the answer between a very good answer. What you are answering is what you read in newspaper every day, bullet points. That's what you're repeating. There's nothing. You see, if you were to give detailed answer, you could have gone to Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan Committee submitted its report in 2019, which is called National Education Policy 2020. Sir, you have asked what is the outstanding feature of that policy. The outstanding feature of that policy is teachers training. Now, I bet none of you have ever read what I have told you, just not teachers training. If you had read, because you read kachra, you don't read right things. Right thing is the policy. 65 पेज का डॉक्यूमेंट है, पढ़ नहीं सकते क्या? 65 पेज का डॉक्यूमेंट है, आप पढ़ नहीं सकते. उसमें हायर एजुकेशन सिर्फ 28 पेज की है, आप वो नहीं पढ़ सकते. आप सब टाइम कचरा ही पढ़ोगे. Now, in school education and higher education, the only chapter common is teachers training. So, if you have read higher education and not read school education, you won't even know कि B.Ed की shape change होने जा रही है. आज तक आपने किसी अखबार में, किसी डिबेट में, किसी डिस्कशन में ये नहीं पढ़ा होगा. Every university is supposed to have education department. Do you know this? This is written in the policy. तो आपने क्या तैयारी? क्यों? क्योंकि आप कचरा पढ़ते हो. So when I said go to the government website, please always read original policy. This is the biggest take you can take from lecture from here. Please always read original policy and then make your note. ये क्या multidisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity, Indian ethos, language. अरे यार क्या बात कर रहे हो? मतलब आप में और 10वीं क्लास के बच्चे में फर्क क्या है? फिर आप IAS बनने जा रहे हो, आपको अगर यही चीजें नहीं पता, तो you're not fit. So please, health policy. Why did I ask you health policy? Let me share with you. If I am taking your interview, your MBBS के बहुत कैंडिडेट आते हैं. आपसे हेल्थ पॉलिसी के बारे में पूछा, इन्होंने काफी अच्छा जवाब दिया, लेकिन obviously it was not complete. Now, do you know एजुकेशन पॉलिसी की तो कमेटी सेटअप हुई, कमेटी ने रिकमेंडेशन दी, रिकमेंडेशन एक्सेप्ट हुई कैबिनेट कमेटी में, ठीक है. उसके बाद वो सब होने के बाद आपकी NEP डिक्लेयर हुई, इंप्लीमेंट हो रही है. हेल्थ पॉलिसी में कोई कमेटी थी? कमेटी थी कि नहीं थी? अगर आपको ये भी नहीं पता तो आपको हेल्थ पॉलिसी के बारे में क्या पता है भाई? इसका मतलब आपने हेल्थ पॉलिसी जहां से पढ़नी थी वहां से नहीं पढ़ी. So when I say go to the government website, please read original documents, and this alone will make you successful, because what you are reading, आपको इतना confidence आएगा, आपको confidence आएगा, because you are reading the original thing. यार, you are not rectifying second grade, third grade notes. You are reading right from where it is coming from. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की वेबसाइट पे जाइए, हेल्थ पॉलिसी निकालिए, उसमें देखिए, यू विल गेट टू नो देयर वाज नो कमेटी. आपको उसमें ये भी नहीं पता चलेगा हेल्थ पॉलिसी किसने बनाई, ये भी नहीं पता चलेगा आपको. So if I am asking you a question, which was the committee which set up health policy, you will presume कि ये पूछ रहे हैं तो कोई कमेटी होगी. But you should have been able to answer, sir, there was no committee appointed for this purpose. So health policy और education policy में इसलिए compare कर रहा हूँ. Now you go to the schemes. आयुष्मान भारत आपने किसी ने कहा, or whatever schemes. Again, go to the government website. Please read it from there. Please read it from there. And this is a mistake almost all students do, that they don't read original stuff. So, page 1, any questions? Otherwise, yeah.
So my father retired this year in March.
Yeah.
So what should be written in father's profession? Means retire.
ये देखो, इसमें फिर बहुत गलतियां करते हैं लोग. खाली retired भी लिख देते हैं. Or again, if you want to play on it, where he was working, then you mention retired from such and such department. Again, I am telling you, whatever you are writing will get you a question. So if you want to avoid where he was working, you don't want to answer those questions, simply write retired. But if you are good in the area from where he retired and you want question.
But sir, it is, we have given option there, retired or in agriculture. So he is now in agriculture also, like after retirement he want to do agriculture also. So can I write agriculture?
मैं आपको एक general rule बता रहा हूँ, because I am not getting into your case per se. I am telling a general thing. Whatever you may write will get you a question.
Okay.
So go by that common sense spirit. Wherever, whatever suits you, put it that way. When we sit in the board, इसमें आप देखिए page ये जो item number 7. The 4 members which I described to you in the board will get only up to item 7. So what they get is, generally it is, DAF is shortened into 2 pages and the printout is given to all the 4 members. Okay? And ये जो बाद वाले portion है सब आपका choices, service की choice, location की choice वगैरह is not with the members. So that's one reason these questions are almost never asked, which in mock a lot of time is wasted on that. So that's what I started with that only. And to answer your question, the 4 members get only up to item number 7. Page 2 2 पेज में मिलता है, बाद वाले पेजेस नहीं मिलते हैं. और naturally फिर सारे क्वेश्चन वो उसी में से पूछेंगे, because that's the only thing they know about the candidate. DAF 1 is over. DAF 1 is over. And please remember that the president of the board, he has a file. He knows everything. And the other 4 members have absolutely no idea of anything except these 1 to 7. Right? So that is how DAF becomes important, because 4 आदमियों को information ही इतनी limited है, वो पूछेगा ही उसमें से और क्या पूछेगा. पूछ सकता है आज के अखबार में क्या हुआ, कल के क्रिकेट के मैच में क्या हुआ, बांग्लादेश में ये प्रॉब्लम हो रही, वो क्या हुआ. My current affairs, general knowledge, your geopolitical knowledge, your subject knowledge, your academic knowledge, your professional performance, all those questions will automatically come, but nothing will go outside of DAF, very rarely. So DAF is something like, in his case, I can challenge. You can come back to me later after the interview. What will happen with your name? Okay. इनके केस में नाम का होगा ही होगा. There's no way. क्योंकि 4 में से 1 member तो पूछेगा. And let me also tell you the psychology of psychology of the members who sit there. Because what happens in mock interviews, very often, what happens, chairman is here and 2 guys here, and the chairman tells this guy, you ask questions on economics and business, you ask questions on constitution, you ask questions on international affairs, etc., etc. He divides. In reality, it doesn't happen like that. In reality, what happens? Member number 1 asks something, member 2 picks up something from there, and his question is relating to what was answered here. So there's a continuity of conversation. This is how in reality it happens. So it may happen in certain interview. I think 70% of the time may go into business and economy. Whereas in another interview, the business and economy may be 0. It may happen. And here also in mock, I have seen sometimes the composition is board is such. You have IAS, you have IPS, you have IRS, all that is fine. But none of them is from the business or economy background. So you are giving mock and not a single question on economy or business is being asked. So two things. One is there's a continuity of conversation in the real interview as against mock. As against mock, they are asking whatever individually they want to ask. So there's a difference. Number two, you have to prepare on all fronts because you don't know which front you may be facing end of the day. So economy is something again important. Geopolitics is again very important. This Ukraine thing, Iran thing, and all these things, Bangladesh thing. You have to prepare for everything. So if you are done with page 1, we go to page 2. Yeah.
Are board members aware of our DAF II beforehand, or they are given at that moment?
I told you that interview is divided in forenoon and afternoon. So you are being called either in forenoon or afternoon. And there are 6 candidates. So when we go there, we get only the DAF of the candidates to be interviewed then. So we have no names, we have no DAFs, we have no nothing. So it is always on the spot. So that is the answer to your question. So second page, again, mothers. Yeah, qualification. Now this qualification, fortunately 10th and 12th, this time they have written and this time they have segregated up to graduation separately and post-graduation separately. So this is, otherwise earlier years I have been noticing mistake. It should start from 10th and many times the people start in the reverse order. So the last year I was seeing lots of mistakes. This year they have, I think, straightened out this columns relating to 10th, 12th, etc. So any question on this qualification, because this is important? If you have any questions. Yeah, what's the question? Yeah, speak loudly.
I've done graduation in BTech Electronics and Communication Engineering. So in subjects, so in examination passed, it will be BE, sir. So in subject, should I write Electronics and Communication Engineering or should I write some subjects from the Electronics and Communication Engineering?
In reality, people mix it up and they write anyways. And very frankly, in reality, it makes no difference.
Okay.
But the common sense says that you should have written about your electronics and communication as in that column, right? So you may use the word specialization in this or electives in this. That makes it explicit if you want to make it explicit. But in reality, I've seen people messing it up very often, which is a poor reflection on the personality of the person that, I mean, you don't even understand such a basic thing. So I'm happy that you asked it. And in your case, the answer is electronics and communication specialization papers. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, I have done my 10th and 12th from Kota.
Yeah.
So should I that is the only place where Kota is appearing in the DAF. So should I write explicitly like the school name and then Kota, or I can avoid mentioning Kota?
Whatever is written in the column, you fill it up. Again, I mean, like if you have the choice of not writing or writing Kota, if that is your question.
Yes, sir.
If you want to invite questions on Kota, write it. If you don't want to invite questions on Kota, don't write it.
Okay.
See, fundamental same रहेगा. Kota लिखोगे तो कोचिंग का डिस्कशन आएगा. कोचिंग इंडस्ट्री पे डिस्कशन आएगा. राइट? कोटा लिखोगे तो राजस्थान का जिक्र हो सकता है. कोटा लिखोगे तो इंडियन रेलवेज का, वेस्टर्न रेलवे का जिक्र हो सकता है. कोटा लिखने से बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन बन सकते हैं. अगर आप उसको फेस करने हो तैयार हो तो आप लिखो, अगर आप उसको अवॉइड करना चाहते हो मत लिखो. So that logic will apply almost in every situation. That's a choice, because you see, they're not assessing you on the basis of filling up the DAF form. They're getting questions out of the DAF form. Yeah.
Sir, how often do we get questions on the school from which we have passed out?
How often?
Do we get questions from the school or college?
Again, if you project it that way, if you say I was captain of the school hockey team, so that means you are drawing them to the school. So again, otherwise they have no interest in your school. Very frankly, let me give you a very interesting example. I was managing director of a company in Bombay, and I would have interviewed more than 100 IIT plus IIM plus experienced guy for the CEO position. I was the managing director. This was 1993. And I did not select even one. 1993 Bombay, I would have interviewed more than 100 IIT plus IIM plus experienced guy. I did not select even one. Now you ask me why? Because I am not interested in your IIT, I am not interested in your IIM. I want to know last 2 years में तुमने क्या किया, because I am going to assess you on the basis of what did you do in the last 2 years. So likewise, CV is a passport, it's not a visa, right? So your IIT, IIM is a passport, it's not a visa. What the hell have you done in the last 2 years? I want to know that. So going by that logic, school में आपने क्या किया, किसी को interest नहीं है, लेकिन अगर आप उसको highlight करते हैं, so that means you're putting words in the mouth of the interviewer. That's the answer to your question.
So talking about the higher educational qualification, if someone is pursuing, for example, if someone is pursuing masters currently in the first year or second year, or doing the PhD, so where should they mention it and how?
I think that option is given if you look at the item number 5, okay, and date of joining is given and likely date of completion is given.
So if they are pursuing PhD, so they can write it. Or if they want to avoid
likely date of completion again, see, the earliest anybody can write is 3 years. The latest anybody may like to write is 5 years. So this is because it is expected date. Now, if it is not between 3 and 5 years, that means something is wrong, right? तो वहां पर इंटेलिजेंस यूज करनी पड़ेगी कि आप जो लिख रहे हो उसमें आपने बुद्धि का प्रयोग किया कि नहीं। लाइकली डेट और ज्वाइनिंग के ऊपर मैं कमेंट कर रहा हूँ, पीएचडी के ऊपर कमेंट कर रहा हूँ। 3 साल से पहले पीएचडी होती नहीं और 5 साल के बाद होती है, तो मतलब आप ठीक से पीएचडी नहीं कर रहे। तो आपकी लाइकली डेट और ज्वाइनिंग का एरिया 4 साल के आसपास का होना चाहिए, मोटा मोटा, राइट? अगर आपने वो 4 साल के आसपास का लिखा है और अब 2 साल बचे हैं, तो क्वेश्चंस ये बनेंगे कि आपने 2 साल में क्या किया। तो यू शुड एंटिसिपेट दोस क्वेश्चन कि 2 साल में आपका रिसर्च डिजाइन बना कि नहीं बना, पीएचडी का आपने डेटा कलेक्शन किया कि नहीं किया, आप एनालिसिस के लेवल पे पहुंचे कि नहीं पहुंचे। सो अगेन ओनली आउट ऑफ दिस कॉलम सो मेनी क्वेश्चंस विल इमर्ज, राइट? नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज अगेन, इफ यू हैव जस्ट रजिस्टर्ड फॉर पीएचडी और पढ़ाई लिखाई कुछ की नहीं, जो नॉर्मली होता है पीएचडी में, लोग अपनी एंट्री ले लेते हैं, अब सोचते हैं कि डॉक्टरेट हो जाएगी और पढ़ते पढ़ते हैं नहीं। तो it is better not to write that you are doing it, right? Because you will definitely get stuck. Because वो जो 2 एक्सटर्नल हैं उनमें से कोई साइंटिस्ट या इंजीनियर या टीचर या जो भी होगा, उसमें से बहुत चांसेस हैं कम से कम एक तो पीएचडी होगा। तो वो पीएचडी देखते ही खिलखिला उठेगा, आपसे सवाल करने शुरू कर देगा पीएचडी, आप फंस जाओगे। तो अब ना फंसो, उससे अच्छा मत लिखोगे, be ready to face the questions. So any questions on page 2? Now we go to the most important part, that is item number 7. Prizes, medals, scholarships, etc. Right? And to answer this gentleman's question about school, it is clearly written, they are asking about university, state, national level. Right? So in school, if you have played up to state or national level, then it should be mentioned, technically speaking, right? But again, very frankly, nobody reads it very properly. I'm talking about the interviewers. So if you played hockey and you were captain of your school team, you want to mention, you mention it. Why? Because you were really good in hockey, number 1. Number 2, you want questions on hockey, number 2. Number 3, you can display through some example that you are a leader. Number 4, you are a team member. अगर आपकी उन सब क्वालिटीज को निकाल के बोलने का मौका मिलता है, then you mention it. Though school level, it is not giving you choice, but I have seen almost always people give that. So it is up to you. Otherwise, sports oblique NCC दिया हुआ है. Now, for example, you can see the defect in the form itself. It's sports oblique NCC. Games is missing. Now, there is difference between games and sports. So games का आपको ऑप्शन ही नहीं दिया हुआ है यहाँ पर, okay? So NCC, if you are holder of C certificate or B certificate or A certificate, then you mention. Otherwise, why I talk about NCC? Because NCC किसने start की, किस year में start की, NCC की organization का structure क्या है, army की और NCC की relationship क्या है, पता चला आप उसी में फंस गए. So if you are not a serious player on NCC, don't even talk about NCC. So again, the moral of the story is, now position of distinction, leadership in school or college. This is very important. And the next one is very important because यहाँ पर आपको खुली छूट दी है, आप अपने बारे में जो भी कहना चाहो कह लो, कितना अच्छा कहते हो. Now that is critical, and believe me, I have rarely seen anybody filling it up properly. Okay. Let me give you an example. I want to work for rural development. That's my area of interest. 1 minute के लिए. Yeah, you can. What is your area of interest? Let's take that. Area of interest क्या है? Social issues present in the society. Now, this is what he stated. Can you narrow it down? Social issues could be gender issues, caste issues, area issues, drinking water issues, health issues, education issues. These are all social issues. So I would never suggest you to use the word social issue. Now, for example, his area of interest is gender issues. Now, would you like to still narrow it down? Within gender issues, would you like to narrow it down?
So changing gender dynamics in today, with the change in the economy of the country, socio-economic setup of the country. For example, recent news about the suicide case of Bangalore techie guy. That shows that we need to reform our legal. We need to change our legal setup. That raises question on legal setup of our country. So,
what is your reaction to what he said? My question is, what do you write in the DAF? That's my question. So you said gender issue. First you said social issue, then you got down to gender issue. What will you write here? That's the question. Because we are talking about filling up the DAF form. So what will you fill up? Tell me. Here my suggestion to you is, please use specific things. Don't generalize. He may say that I write blogs on social issues, particularly gender issues. That could be one statement, maybe. Or he may say, if that is what he wants to say, that I like to create gender issue awareness. I like to create awareness of gender issues in the school children. Or I want to create awareness of gender issues in the colleges and universities. He may talk about writing essays, delivering talks. Or it has to be narrowed down to something which is comprehensible. ऐसे तो हर आदमी को हर चीज में इंटरेस्ट होता है. तो आप इसको जितना नैरो डाउन करके जितनी अच्छी तरह से लिखेंगे, आपका इंटरव्यू उतना अच्छा होने की संभावना है, क्योंकि आप उतने फोकस एरिया में प्रिपेयर करेंगे. अब वेग नहीं हो. तो मेरा जो एक्सपीरियंस इसमें बहुत खराब रहा है, and I'm repeating, almost 99% of the DAF forms are bad on this because they don't apply their mind while filling it up. So I suggest to all of you, पेंसिल से लिखिए, नैरो डाउन करिए और नैरो डाउन करिए, और उन एरियाज में जिसमें आप प्रिपरेशन कर सकते हो. It could be rural development, it could be gender issues. आजकल DEI चल रहा है. I mean, for example, I would love to, if I were a candidate, I would have loved to talk about sustainability development goals. You know why? वहां वाले जो लोग हैं उन सबको बड़ा शौक होता है इन चीजों. देखो, इंटरव्यू करने का जो सबसे सरल तरीका होता है, यू स्पीक इन द लैंग्वेज ऑफ द इंटरव्यूअर, half the interviewer is done, mind it. So sustainability development goal is policy makers are into that, country की चीजें वहां से निकल के आ रही हैं. आप हेल्थ पॉलिसी उठा लो, NEP उठा लो, कुछ भी उठा लो, पहला पैराग्राफ SDG मिलेगा आपको. Now, if I were to write, I will go to Sustainability Development Goal Academy. And there I pick up the right things, where I see material का. उसमें से निकाल के मैं इसमें phrase बना के लिखूं. So that मेरे को ये भी पता है मसाला कहाँ पड़ा हुआ है. So that मुझे पता भी है मैं एक लेवल ऊपर जा रहा हूँ. जेंडर वेंडर तो हर आदमी बोलेगा. जेंडर इशू तो हर तीसरा आदमी जेंडर इशू बोलेगा. तो आपने क्या तोड़ दिया? Sorry for my language, but the fact is, I mean, you got to be different. You got to be good, yeah. You got to be outstanding. If you're not, then यू आर वन ऑफ द सो मेनी. फिर तो आप 50% की रेंज पे रहोगे जो रहते हैं ज्यादातर लोग इंटरव्यू में. तो 50% से ऊपर उठना है तो ऊपर का सोचो ना, कुछ एक लेवल. तो मैंने सस्टेनेबिलिटी डेवलपमेंट गोल का आपको जैसे एग्जांपल दिया. सस्टेनेबिलिटी डेवलपमेंट गोल की बात करें तो अभी 23-24 नवंबर को न्यूयॉर्क में समिट ऑफ द फ्यूचर हुआ था. अब एसडीजीज खत्म हो रहे हैं आपके 2030 में. 2030 के बाद क्या होगा उसकी प्लानिंग अभी से शुरू हो गई. अगर आपने वो बात बोल दी बातचीत में, वो तो अंदर से सब गदगद हो जाएंगे, बिकॉज दोज गाइस वुड after you leave, the discussion takes place, they'll say the candidate was so good. You see, the marks are always given by consensus after the candidate leaves. So after you would have left, they'll say, the guy is absolutely up to date. He knew what happened in the Summit of the Future in New York. So go 1-2 levels above. Run of the mill mein mat raho. Okay? So this is hobbies again. I mean, I have seen DAF forms writing 15 hobbies. अरे यार 15 हॉबी हो सकती है क्या किसी आदमी की? अगर हो भी तो हो सकता है जो 11 से 15 तक लिखा है वो 10 साल में एक बार किया होगा. राइट? तो इसका मतलब है कि मंद बुद्धि है. So he should not have written that. That is something terribly wrong with this person. और ऐसे DAF भी मैंने देखे एक भी नहीं लिखा. एक भी नहीं लिखा इसका मतलब ये तो बंदा ही इनकम्प्लीट है. इसको तो मतलब ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि आपकी हॉबी ना हो. अगर आपकी हॉबी नहीं है तो आप भैया स्ट्रेस जो आईएएस की नौकरी में लेते हो, अगर आपकी हॉबी नहीं होगी तो आप तो जिंदा भी नहीं रह पाओगे. यू हैव टू हैव हॉबीज. तो हॉबीज के केस में आइडियली यू शुड राइट 2, 3 और 4. राइट? बिकॉज आप 3-4 से ज्यादा लिखोगे क्वेश्चन नहीं ले पाओगे आप. हमारा पर्पस डैफ का फिर घूम फिर के हर बात पे क्वेश्चंस पे आ जाता. आप कौन से क्वेश्चन ले पाओगे, कौन से क्वेश्चन झेल पाओगे, उस पर डिपेंड करेगा आपने लिखा क्या है. They will ask out of it. Again, I mean, if you write cricket, it's a vague thing. If you write watching cricket, it is better. If you write watching one-day cricket, it is still better. If you write watching IPL, तो आप उसके क्वेश्चंस का दायरा सीमित करते चले जाओ. Right? So you have to again, when writing even cricket, you have to narrow it down. So narrowing it down is the critical thing here. उतना लिखो जितना रीजनेबल और अच्छा लगे. उसकी लैंग्वेज ठीक से लिखो, उसकी तैयारी करो. और because you still have 19, today is what? 14. You still have 4-5 days time on your side. So please start working on rough DAF sheets. Start thinking on whatever we are discussing. And based on it, you fill out the form on 18th or 19th. 18th, you should do ideally one day before the last day. But till that time, you apply your mind to these things, right? ऐसे ही you should, looking at your DAF form, for example, MBBS के case में health policy, I'll take it for granted. B.Ed, yes, B.Ed, I interviewed only one guy in mock interview who gave the right answer of this teacher's training. Till date, only one candidate, because this policy is what, 4 years old now. Only one candidate till date, B.Ed guy, who gave the right answer. So you should also specialize in 1 or 2 ministries. जहां आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिले, कम से कम 1-2 मिनिस्ट्री में तो आपकी दादागिरी होनी चाहिए ना. You should be able to talk about those ministries. And there's so much beautiful material available in Ministry of Finance, Department of Economic Affairs. That's one most beautiful place to get data and information. Number 2, RBI website. Now, when you go to RBI website, please go to the speeches drop-down box and always read governor and deputy governor's speeches, because उसमें आपको सब छन छन के डेटा मिलता है. उनके आदमियों ने इतनी मेहनत की हुई है डेटा निकालने में. Why should you do all that मेहनत? You get ready-made material. So RBI website, okay, and any ministry, if you really want to master, you should always read annual report. Let me give you again an example. I am invited to deliver talks on national education policy every now and then in some university or some place. So I try to keep myself updated on NEP 2020. So I had to deliver a talk. And I was trying to find out what is the number of affiliated colleges of University of Mumbai. It was Bombay University. The name got changed to University of Mumbai. So I was trying to find out the number of affiliated colleges. And just for your information, it is one of the largest universities of the world because the number of affiliated colleges is more than 800. Okay. Now in NEP, it is clearly written there will be no more affiliation. It is clearly written. So my worry as a teacher, as an educator was, what will happen to all these colleges, including UP Technical University, Falana Technical University, what happens to all these colleges? That has been my personal worry. Because if I am asked this question from the audience, what will I respond? So Bombay University, University of Mumbai website I went. And please remember, whenever you go to these official website, always go to About Us. Always go to About Us. And always read the history. That will be half a page, not more than that. Always read history. And if like him, if you had started, that health policy was made in 2017, आधा किला तो आपने वहीं जीत लिया. So whenever you are responding to any question, and if you had gone to About Us, and you can give the historical perspective, I think you won half the battle. So I was looking at, I was not getting the number of affiliated colleges of University of Mumbai. I went to the annual report. When I went to the annual report, I saw a new thing. And that was empowered autonomous colleges. So NEP says there will be 3 kinds of institutions: research universities, teaching universities, or autonomous colleges. Only 3 types. It's very clearly mentioned in the NEP. Ab implementation mein kahan kya ho raha hai, that's another matter. We are not getting into that. There I saw that 8 colleges of University of Mumbai, they have made them empowered autonomous colleges. This was a new term for me. This happened about 10 days back. Empowered autonomous colleges. And then I was wondering, what is this? And then I realized empowered autonomous colleges means they are allowing joint degree to be given by the college and the university. So before they are going to be hived off, like this Lady Shri Ram College is not going to remain part of Delhi University. It will become an independent degree granting college. So in Bombay, they have already done this exercise by already having empowered, this was the new word, empowered autonomous colleges who are giving joint degree between the college and the university. Now, had I not gone to annual report, मैं जो रोज भाषण देता हूँ इस subject में, I would have not even known this is happening in the country. So my suggestion to you is, when you are into some serious thing, please go to the annual report. And let me also share with you, some of you may be from the corporate world. Anyone? Ex-corporate? Which company? Tata Hitachi. Now, I mean, like if I'm taking his interview, my first question will be, what is the shareholding pattern between Tata and Hitachi? That will be my first question. My next question will be turnover, obviously, right? Now, if I ask him the next question, if he has not read the annual report of Tata Hitachi, he will not be able to answer. Okay. Now, I know the trick of the trade because I know annual report is like Gita, Bible, Quran of a company or a ministries or a RBI's, whatever department or company or whatever it is. So if you don't do that, another thing which I have forgotten when we were talking about educational qualifications, I forgot to tell you guys, you will definitely be asked about your college or university. And important questions like, can you name the important alumni of your institution? Again, that's a standard question. And quite often the answers come very foolish. And I'm sharing about IIT. Now, Sir Gangaram was the alumni of IIT Roorkee. Those students don't say that. Sir Gangaram is a man who made Lahore as a city. Right? उसकी बात नहीं करेंगे, बात करेंगे अभी कोई आईटी का कोई हीरो बन गया वेस्ट कोस्ट में, उसके बारे में बात करेंगे, which is fine, that's not wrong. But when you have had outstanding people in your institution and you don't even know about them, so please go back to your college or your university's website and find out such things which will be normal questions. For example, I am taking interview as a guy, he has done BTech in civil engineering from IIT Delhi. Okay. So I'll ask him questions. Okay, civil engineering, can you tell me how many courses are being, how many programs are there in MTech in civil engineering? Now, if he cannot tell me कि 4 प्रोग्राम है या 10 प्रोग्राम है या 8 प्रोग्राम है, इसका मतलब उसको अपने डिपार्टमेंट में ही नहीं पता क्या हो रहा है. So that's a poor reflection on that guy. Now, these are normal, natural questions which will come to the mind of the interviewer. So when you are onto your educational side, educational column, please anticipate question. Okay, everywhere, the moral of the story is anticipate question. Find the answer at the right place. Again, I mean that will make you different from others. If you don't do that, then फिर आप ऐसे ही आंसर दोगे जैसे NEP के इन्होंने या हेल्थ पॉलिसी के जैसे. That's the difference. So, any questions?
Sir, if at all we are asked about this introduce yourself, which is not us. So we see in mock interviews, we kind of say our name, place of birth, schooling and interest. So I don't think it will take 2 to 3 minutes. So what are we supposed to say in that?
Very good question. And I think that is where the difference comes. If you do that, what you said, name, place, mother's name or whatever. I mean, if I don't share my dreams, my desires, my plan, बाकी तो उसके पास लिखा हुआ है, अभी क्या इंट्रोड्यूस क्या कर रहा है आपसे कुछ नहीं. Okay. So in the DAF form, everything is written. So you are speaking out like a rata hua tota.
Yes, sir.
You're not fit to be an officer, right? So you may say that what you said in 1 minute, half minute, and such and such. I did. Now, this is very important. If you come from Meerut and you want to invite questions on Meerut, you spend more time on Meerut. If you want to talk more about school because you studied in such and such famous convent school, right? And you want questions on convent or school, then you stress on that portion more. If you studied in a third-rate school, don't even talk about school. Straight away jump to college or university. Package it. And the more you practice it, the better results you. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir.
So always play on your strengths. And that you will do only when you've done homework. If you're not done homework, and if you go unprepared, and you are asked this question, please introduce yourself, you'll do the same thing. I'm such and such, I've done this, and for you, it's a routine thing. That means you are losing an opportunity. Interview is a game of opportunities and grabbing on the opportunity. If you are not filling up DAF properly, if you're not expecting the questions properly, if you're not responding to questions properly, how will you crack it?
Sir, I got recommended from SSB in NDA exam. So should I put that in DAF or not?
For NDA, you got selected?
Yes, sir.
So you cleared SSB or you called for SSB?
I cleared SSB. I did not go through the medicals.
This is again very interesting and very good. I will leave it to you if you want to highlight it, because there's absolutely nothing wrong. Because any of your achievement, this is an achievement that you cleared SSB.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfectly fine. Now, medical, if your medical is such, how is it impacting your duty here? That you have to think through. So if it goes against you in this service, then don't even talk about it because you got rejected on medical ground. So that means there's some deficiency. Then avoid it. Okay. My general suggestion in these things is, in the flow of discussion, if these things come, then you casually mention it. Don't go out of the way.
From the armed forces standard, it was not fine, but from the civilians perspective, it was good.
That's fine then. I mean, like, again, if you get an opportunity, please speak out about it because it's a positive thing. See, anything good which has happened, which is not written in DAF or there is no place in DAF, you bring it out in some or the other answers which you are getting.
One more thing, sir.
Yeah.
I played state level volleyball, so it comes in R4 section of entry 7.
Yeah, it is there, no? And if it comes at 2 places, mention it at 2 places. There's nothing wrong.
Not more than 2 places.
2 जगह है ना ये, एक तो state level वाले में आ रहा है.
Yes, sir. In hobby also.
Sports and extracurricular. So
ये hobby वाले में भी आ रहा है, और it also comes in prize and medals.
There's no harm if it gets repeated once or 2 places. There's absolutely nothing wrong. It's not taken badly. It's an achievement end of the day. Interviewer एक जगह मिस करेगा, दूसरी जगह मिस नहीं करेगा, advantage तो आपको ही मिलेगा. And if you are written at 2 places, that's not a technical mistake or anything. What you're doing is right. And this is not taken, please remember, DAF is not taken very seriously by the interviewer. It is only a indication of asking questions to them. Please remember that. Because DAF में बहुत लोग बहुत गलतियां करते हैं. मैं आपको कई बार बोल चुका हूँ, 90 to 99% DAF गलत भरा होता है. But it does not affect their selection, but their foolishness affects their selection because they are losing opportunity. Yeah, somebody was asking.
Sir, one of the prizes and achievements, medals and scholarships that I have mentioned was that there was an All India problem solving assessment by CBSE, but it was in 12th class. So I had a pretty good percentile in that. But since it's in 12th class, I'm confused, should I include it or not? It's the 4th entry.
See, again, I'm telling you, the moral of the story is where you think you can get mileage out of it, please do it. Because this is not a document where, कि आपके marks कट जाएंगे. कुछ highlight कर सकते हो, अच्छी बात कर दो यार. नहीं भी पूछा तो भी कर. कोई नुकसान नहीं. But then you expect questions that.
क्योंकि सर जो हेड है वो यही था कि यूनिवर्सिटी, स्टेट एंड नेशनल लेवल.
आई नो वो थोड़ा सा डिफेक्टिव भी लिखा हुआ है. वो आप देखो, अगर ध्यान से देखो तो कॉलम इटसेल्फ इज स्लाइटली डिफेक्टिव.
यस,
यू मेंशन इट.
ओके, थैंक यू.
बिकॉज़ एट स्कूल लेवल यू कुड हैव प्लेड एट द स्टेट लेवल.
हां,
राइट.
यस.
उनकी इंटेंशन जो भी रही होगी, आपकी जो इंटेंशन, आप अपनी इंटेंशन से उसको भर दो. या
सर, माय क्वेश्चन इज दैट if I want to keep 7B and 7C as empty to avoid questions, so how does it reflect on the mind of the interviewer?
See, I do see forms like that. That is not taken badly, let me tell you that. I mean, कोई आपके marks नहीं कटते उसके. But I personally feel you're losing on opportunity. Because, you see, you have everything in front of you, what you wanted to mention, you mention, and you are narrowing down the scope of the interview to those items. So my personal suggestion is to write rather than not write. But if you are not comfortable, you don't want to write, you will not lose marks. Because marks are going to be based on the interaction you have with the board, not on the DAF, what you have written on DAF. So again, I am repeating, DAF में मैंने जैसे बताया, लोगों के DAF इतने गलत और खराब होते हैं, तो इसका मतलब ये तो नहीं है लोगों के नंबर कट जाते. पर अगर DAF में कोई अपने पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मार रहा है, तो that's his problem, right?
Sir, my concern was that whatever entry I am considering to write, I am not very confident in answering questions.
Then don't write.
So is it fine that 2 columns are left blank?
Yeah, it doesn't look nice, but it does not go against. It does not go against.
So, sir, like in hobby section, I'm going to put drama. Like I have performed in my school and college as well. Like I have been performing, but I don't know the theoretical and that part of dramatics as such. So how should I mention it? Like
performing in dramas, you write?
Performing in drama.
Absolutely. That's a very good question you asked, and that's the very straight answer. Because the moment you write performing in dramas, they'll say which was the last drama you performed in. Then you'll say such and such. Then they'll say, can you stand up and can you do one dialogue delivery for us? I mean, मैंने तो बहुत लोगों से करवाया हुआ ये actual.
Yes, sir, I did.
I mean, कई बार ऐसा होता था, बॉटनी का स्टूडेंट है, हमें तो बॉटनी का कुछ पता नहीं, तो उससे ये पूछ लेते थे, ये गमला रखा हुआ, ये पौधा कौन सा है? Right? I used to ask one standard question. Please stand up. So the guy stands up. First, he is confused because nobody asked you to stand up. So stand up. Have a 360-degree view of this room. Room is of that UPSC member. Please sit down. Now, question is, if you were the occupant of this room, how will you reorganize this room? Now, please stand up again, have another look. Now, I'm giving second opportunity. Please sit down. Question remains, if you were the occupant of this room, how will you reorganize the room? बहुत मजेदार जवाब आते थे. किसी को लगता था कि my seat should have not been close to the toilet. किसी को लगता था ये जो है फर्नीचर यहाँ से चेंज कर देना चाहिए था. किसी को लाइटिंग में प्रॉब्लम लगता था. Now, when I was asking this question as an interviewer, my perspective was to see, does the guy have 360-degree view of things or not? Because I want my officer to have 360-degree view of whatever he's seeing. Otherwise the guy is not fit, because civil engineer है तो खाली वो फर्श देख रहा है या दीवारें देख रहा है, right? So that was the question which I used to ask. So coming back to this performance of drama, many times we have got this हिंदी में कविता पाठ कराया है, इंग्लिश में पोएम रिसाइटिंग करवाया है, ड्रामा वाला करवाए हैं. तो जहां आप परफॉर्मिंग लिखोगे, you will immediately get that. So you should remember a couple of good, good performances of yours where dialogue delivery is good. You get an opportunity. I mean, not that you get any great marks for that, but what is established is your honesty. You see, any interview, one of the most important thing is the honesty of the candidate. आप जो कह रहे हो और जो लिख रहे हो वो सच है कि आप बेवकूफ बना रहे हो. This is a very important aspect of any interview. So by writing performance, he has narrowed it down कि ये academic side से ड्रामा की पूरी बच गए. नहीं तो इनसे पूछा जाता, ओथेलो का पूछ लिया, शेक्सपियर का पूछ लिया, ये पूछ लिया, वो पूछ लिया, तो फंस गए. तो उससे बचने के लिए उन्होंने परफॉर्मेंस लिखा, इनसे परफॉर्मेंस करा ली, बात खत्म होगी, अगले सवाल पे चलेगी. तो मैटर विल एंड देयर एंड इट विल मेक द एनवायरनमेंट लाइट एंड गुड. यू सी, आप इंटरव्यू कैसे जीतते हो? आप सामने वाले को खुश करते हो, अच्छी बात करते हो, अच्छा एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट करते हो. That's how you win any interview, right? So this, you can take it as a positive event in the interview board. It is nothing great about your knowledge, but makes the environment better.
So like similar question in sports section, like I have played multiple games in college level, like all hockey, football, cricket and athletics at like higher level in college. So which sport should I mention? Like because definitely they will attract question, and I can, like in athletics, I'm not very well versed. I'm not watching anything, or hockey also for that matter. So like in that scenario, should I mention only few sports like cricket, football and all those, in which?
You can put it like outdoor games, for example.
Okay.
See, if you write outdoor games, the next question will come, which games?
Okay.
Then again, you take the interview to whichever direction. तो आप ये सोचो, आपने जो लिखा उससे क्वेश्चन क्या बनता है. मैं बार बार उसी बात को रिपीट कर रहा हूँ, राइट? So if I were in your place, I would have written outdoor games, and when I will prepare in my register how to answer this question, then I'll think 10 times and I'll keep revising, keep changing. और अभी तो आपको 18-19 को भरना है फॉर्म, तब तक हो सकता है you may drop this idea. You may think you are not comfortable on this. You will drop it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to ask regarding the educational pass out year. If someone is pass out in 2020 or 2019 and since then he or she is preparing for this exam, so how will the person will be justifying the gap that has been that is there, like for 5 years the person is preparing for the paper?
It is never taken negatively. Let me share that with you, because people know it's a difficult exam. And not everybody clears it in first or second attempt. And a lot of people who do it in last attempts. It's perfectly fine if somebody is right on the job in terms of preparing, and there's a gap, the person is preparing for this competitive exam. It is not taken badly at all.
And one more question, if he or she is pass out in 2016, तो it's been 8 years, तो उसमें कितना डिटेल में आपको रिसर्च करना चाहिए अपने एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट के बारे में? और
देखिए, एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन में नॉर्मली क्या होता है, मैं बताऊं, वहाँ जो दूसरे लोग बैठे होते हैं वो किस इंस्टीट्यूशन है उससे बहुत फर्क पड़ता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, चांसेस आर कि जो दूसरी साइड में बैठे हैं उनमें से कोई ना कोई DU का होगा, चांसेस आर उनमें से कोई ना कोई IIT का होगा. अब अगर आपने DU IIT से किया, चाहे 2016 में किया, चाहे 2022 में किया, दैट्स नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट. व्हाट इज इम्पोर्टेंट इज DU और IIT. सो द क्वेश्चन विल कम ऑन दैट. बट अगर आपने किसी लेसर नोन यूनिवर्सिटी, घासीराम यूनिवर्सिटी मध्य प्रदेश से किया है 1 मिनट के लिए, रविदास यूनिवर्सिटी से किया है, तो द चांसेस आर कि बोर्ड में किसी को इंटरेस्ट नहीं होगा उस यूनिवर्सिटी में, आपसे क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछे जाएंगे. बट इट हैज नथिंग टू डू विद द ईयर, इट हैज टू डू विद द इंस्टीट्यूशन. सो दैट्स हाउ इट गोस.
Sir, is consistency important while mentioning hobbies?
Consistency in what sense?
In the sense, like if I write Tratak meditation and watching crime drama series, does it give a bad view?
Not at all. Not at all. That's your choice. I mean, like, I may be doing two totally different things, and I am interested in two totally different things. There's nothing bad. I may do meditation as well as I may be watching movies. So what's wrong with that? I don't see it. देखिए, जो सामने वाला आदमी बैठा होता है, वो बार बार मैं आपसे रिपीट कर रहा हूँ, वो खाली सवाल खोज रहा है आपके डेफ से। अभी आप जितनी बातें कर रहे हैं, आप अपने माइंडसेट से कर रहे हैं। आप सामने वाले के माइंडसेट से जिस दिन सोचना शुरू कर देंगे, उस दिन आपके इंटरव्यू की तैयारी ठीक हो जाएगी। Whatever you write, what will the other guy think, and he will ask. If you start working on that, your DAF is wonderful. So, और ये जो आपके दिमाग में इस तरह की बातें आई, I'm very happy you are asking, because इस तरह के डाउट्स क्लियर हो जाने चाहिए। ये बहुत सारी मिथ्स हैं, जैसे ये मिथ है कि आपका ये जो आप कौन सा कार्डर चूज करोगे, कौन सा ये वो, अगर कितना टाइम वेस्ट करते हैं लोग इस बेवकूफी की चीज में जो रियलिटी में नहीं होती। So you should save time on such thing, and you should spend time on, I said, go to the original policy, read the original policy. अरे 65 पेज की पॉलिसी है, which is one of the longest of education, and I think if you read it, you will read it like a song. You will feel so happy. You will feel so confident, and then you will realize what you knew was bullshit. What has been fed to you, सेकेंड ग्रेड के पत्रकार उठ के आपको बुलेटेड पॉइंट में 4 चीजें चिपका रहे हैं, आप वो पढ़ रहे हैं, आप क्या कर रहे हो आप लाइफ में, जब ओरिजिनल पॉलिसी है 4 साल से पड़ी हुई है वेबसाइट। रीडिंग इंटरव्यू ट्रांसक्रिप्ट is 1000% waste of time. Please don't waste your time. A, उस बंदे से क्या पूछा, उससे आपको क्या लेना देना, आपसे क्या पूछेगा, आप अपने ऊपर कंसंट्रेट करो, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, व्हाट इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट इज आप जवाब कैसे देते हो, जवाब कितना देते हो, जवाब कितना अच्छा देते हो, मार्क्स उसके मिलेंगे, मार्क्स क्वेश्चंस के नहीं मिलते। तो ये जो ट्रांसक्रिप्ट्स के ऊपर लोग जो छपता रहता है और लोग पढ़ते रहते हैं, हम लोगों को भी आता है, मौक वालों को भी आता है। I never read it because I find it a utter waste of time. See, I am concerned with my DAF. I am concerned with my interview. Why should I read somebody else's? भाई कॉमन सेंस की बात है, वॉर हो रहा है, वॉर से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आएंगे, इकोनॉमी है, इकोनॉमी से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आएंगे, बिजनेस है, बिजनेस से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आएंगे, मेरे होम टाउन से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आएंगे, मेरी इंस्टीट्यूशन से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आएंगे, मेरे प्रोफेशन से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आएंगे। आई शुड प्रिपेयर दैट, व्हाई शुड आई बॉदर? So once in a while, for the sake of just brushing your this thing, you may read it, but it is meaningless. So don't spend I would say more than 5 minutes on that. Yeah.
Since the entry 7 is very important, and many questions are formed from this, wouldn't it be in my best interest to just stuff it completely if I have those many things? For example, in my 7th entry, I have in awards Institute Merit Scholarship from IIT, and awards in mime competition, then UPSC scholarship. Then there are several others which were at school level, but I didn't put them. But now I am thinking that since we can put them, we should. And then in sports also, I have airgun shooting, water polo, and then there are some other hobbies like competitive coding, dramatics, lawn tennis. So these kind of things are
I'm
there.
very happy that you said that, but at the same time, please realize you may not be able to field all questions on lawn tennis, for example,
Yes,
as you may be able to field in some other field of what all you said.
yes, sir.
So I would still want you to pick up some 5, 6, 7 best rather than putting 15. That's my
No, sir,
suggestion to you.
not all of them will be in hobbies. In some there are.
Again, I'm telling you, the basic is what you want to discuss and answer is what should come wherever you put it in there.
Got it, sir.
Wherever you put it in there. You see, whether he reads it under 6 or he reads it under 7, he will ask a question, right? If he does not ask, the next interviewer will ask. So the areas you don't want questions, you may have been very good in school in lawn tennis, for example. You have not played lawn tennis for the last 5 years,
Yes, sir.
for example, and you have not updated yourself with the latest in lawn tennis, for example. So forget about lawn tennis because you have so many things.
Yes, sir. Actually, I was saying this because if I
I can get more questions from here. But if I don't get more questions, then I will get more questions from current affairs. I may not be knowing.
You are mixing up two different things. You see, it may happen that you may get more questions from current affairs because the interviewer number 1 started with current affairs and the interviewer 2 is continuing with that. So it may happen that your DAF may not invite as many questions as you were anticipating. So don't think because of your writing, whatever you are writing, you will not get questions from current affairs or you will get questions from current. Because it is situational, it is contextual. See, last candidate went and there was so much of discussion and debate on a particular topic. And we were still thinking about it and the next candidate comes. We ask the same question from the next candidate. Now this is contextual. It has nothing to do with DAF. So whatever you write, wherever you write, it is not necessary that every time question will be asked from there. So instead of packing here, you are packing it there, you are packing it there. Well, you are taking a chance. You can go ahead and take a chance. But that does not guarantee a question. Chances are you will get more questions. Yeah.
So my basic thought behind this was that these things I know I have to prepare. So I will prepare them. But if let us say I do not write these things, I miss on a few, and then there will be more time for the interviewer. So he might ask some random question that I may not be knowing. So isn't this writing more utilitarian as compared to?
No, I think you are fixing up slots like this. It doesn't work like that. It is, again, I am repeating, it is contextual. Last candidate का क्या हुआ, उसका state of mind क्या है, वो आदमी क्या सोच रहा है. तो वो, he is not guided by your writing or not writing this or not writing that. But the more you're putting in depth, the chances are more that he'll ask you from the depth. It's as simple as that. You're like, this gentleman was not wanting to write anything in column number 6 or 7. So obviously he'll get more question on current affairs, etc., because he's not written anything there. Obviously कुछ पूछने का ही नहीं है, तो इनसे तो जनरल चीजें ज्यादा पूछेंगे. आपने ज्यादा लिखा है तो चांसेस ये आपसे इसका ज्यादा पूछेंगे, चांसेस ज्यादा है, लेकिन कोई गारंटी नहीं है इसका पूछने की वजह से करंट अफेयर नहीं पूछेंगे. Current affair they may still ask because that is equally important.
Yes, sir.
So that's it.
Sir, I have a question regarding your first point that you made, that your answer should be to the point and right. Now,
right means if you know right.
Yeah. So now this is a bit subjective and also confusing. So my question is that
it is not subjective, it is not confusing.
So I'll clarify a question.
Yeah.
That if the questions are of nature which are broad opinion based, let's say for example, if they ask me what will you do for your district or how will you solve this and this problem in your district. Now, this is a question I can anticipate and I can prepare, and which I think I have certain depth in which I can impress the interviewer. So in these questions, can we take, like, if I start explaining 2, 3, 4 points, it may take slightly longer. So is it like fine to go long answers in some of these questions, or how to balance this? How to understand at what point you are to the point?
You asked many things in one question. Let me tell you, first of all, you asked a very good question that is an opinion-based question. And opinion-based questions are the questions which are most important because they are not checking your factual knowledge, because that has been checked in the written test. So what they are checking is personality, and personality is reflected on how do you react and how do you speak and what do you opine and how do you opine. So opinion-based questions are most important questions where your personality is tested. So that's perfectly fine. Now comes the situation where you are telling where you know a lot and you can speak a lot. Should you speak a lot or should you stop? This is your question. If I get you right, is that right? Because you are asked a question, for example, in your district, this thing has happened and you are the district magistrate, how will you solve it? And you have in mind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That's what you're saying. So my answer to your question is yes. You can say that number of actions can be contemplated, which I intend to do. I will just tell you the 3 most important which I intend to do. So speak out 1, 2, 3, but don't go to 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, because again you are losing opportunity of being interviewed. आपने जो 3 बता दिया, आपका पता चल जाएगा आपका level क्या है. आपके खाली 3 से ही पता चल जाएगा whether you know it or you don't know it. One very interesting question. In the mock a chairman was asking to a candidate, it's very interesting, I just remember. He said, you are the district magistrate of such and such place and आपके शहर में दंगा हो गया और आपको पता चला कि इतने घरों में आग लगा दी और ये हो गया वो हो गया. So what will you do as district magistrate? Can any one of you answer this question? You're the DM in your city. There are riots and a number of houses have been burnt. And as a DM, you get to know this. What will you do? This was a question. This was in a mock. This was not a real question. Yeah. So what will you do? That was the question asked. Yeah.
It should be a two-pronged approach. The first should be evacuating the victims because they can't help themselves in that situation. And the second would be to find the arsonists and try to separate them out from the areas that are sensitive in the immediate time frame.
Sir, fire department को call करके पहले हर जगह आग बुझाएंगे. That should be the first step.
Anybody else? Yeah.
If we get to know this, first of all, getting in touch with the higher department wise, first of all, talking to the police department and then talking to the fire department, because the concerned officers will be taking care of their own teams and they will be sending, because I alone cannot do this. So I will be coordinating with the departments and sending the teams right there.
You wanted to say something?
So my approach would be in two ways. Firstly, during the droids, where I'll be clearly communicating to every stakeholders, and secondly, maintaining law and order is topmost priority. And post droids, I will be giving counseling to every stakeholders who are affected by this.
Okay. So the chairman of our board, when he was giving feedback to the candidate, he said, you are the DM. You will call the SP and ask him to give report in 15 minutes. ये सब थोड़ा ना करोगे, आप डीएम हो भाई. एसपी से दंगे की रिपोर्ट मांगोगे, 15 मिनट में देगा वो आपको, उसके बाद ही तो एक्शन होगा. So this is the way of thinking. You see, again, what is being tested? You were all acting like problem solvers. You are the boss, must know the facts of the case. And who will give you the report? SP or SSP? Because it's a matter of rights. This is what the chairman told the candidate. So I'm just sharing with you that this is a perspective. You may agree, you may not agree. That's up to you. But this is what happened, I think last year ki baat hai. So when you are an officer, if I were you, and if I were to sit in an interview, I would have possibly sit down to find out what the qualities required in an IAS officer. And then I will narrate them in my own language, and all my answers should lead to that I have those qualities.
I understood what the honorable chairman said, but I do not have any such thought process. So how to build that?
No, this is the difference. You see, if you do not have thought process, that means you're not fit for the job. The personality test is only to see that. I gave example right in my first sentence. You may be a genius. As a genius, you may be great for certain things, but you're not fitting into the service. So any interview which takes place is to see basically 2-3 things. First thing is whether you're a good person or not. The second thing is whether you have the right attitude and aptitude or not. And the third thing is, do you have those qualities required for that job? For example, job is technical and you don't hold technical qualifications, so you're not fit, despite being very good, despite having a very good attitude. But you don't have the basic understanding of technology, so how do we take you for a technical job? So this is a question like this, that if you don't think like an officer, then you're not to be taken. That's it.
So just an extension, like if an opinion-based question is asked, for example, I'm from Maharashtra. So if they ask me, like, what is your opinion on the Ladli Behna scheme, where we provide women with a monthly assistance of 2,000 rupees. So
Very
now
good.
I have to first state my opinion, or first I have to give a brief background of the scheme that I know, and then should I tell both pros and cons, and then what should be the duration? Just
This is the best question of the day. Okay. So the question is on Ladli Behna Yojana. Okay. And the question could be framed in whatever way. Right? So your question to me is, how should you answer
what
it?
should be, for according to you?
How should you answer it? That's your question to me. So please remember, you should start with a factual note that if you call it Ladli Behan Yojana, it was started in Madhya Pradesh by the then Chief Minister Shivraj Singh in such and such year. Next sentence, you say, I am from Maharashtra and I am aware that it was started by such and such name in Maharashtra at such and such time. Right? Then you say, in the changing world, possibly these kind of schemes are very much appreciated by the public in general and they are popular. Tell any other positive thing you want to tell about it. Was it that? Then when it comes to the negative things, then you say that the number of political parties are also alleging that 3 months money was given in one way, which was against the norm of the election, etc., etc. So when you're talking about negative thing, don't own the negative thing on you.
Some people.
Either say people are saying or political parties are saying or whatever, right? So you should not be owning the negative things about it because you should not appear to be biased. Now, what an interviewer is looking into you is A, do you know about it or not? B, what kind of opinion do you have? C, are you neutral or not? If I get a feeling you belong to BJP or you belong to Congress, that's a wrong signal you're giving. Because you are subservient to the constitution of this country. You are an officer of the sovereign. You are not representative of a political party. Another mistake very often I see in mock interviews is that anybody and everybody, honorable speaker, honorable minister, what is this? You are not yet government officer. What is this honorable? It's a wrong English. Minister is minister, speaker is speaker. You are not officer to be calling. If you are a government of India officer, you should very well call the speaker, honorable minister. But you are not yet on board. So you should be an independent, unbiased person. And again, I go back to give a 360-degree view of everything. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So while the question is being asked to us, sometimes it happens that we recall some real life incidents or some perspective. So shall we narrate that, include it in our answer, or leave it there, like not mentioning
in
that?
what context the question is being
For
asked?
example, in my previous interview, it was asked like green revolution. My hobby was cooking and they went on green revolution. And I remembered some things from what my grandparents used to say about the situation. So shall I mention it there? What was the situation there with their perspective or not?
Again, it depends if you say that when my parents were there, they used to get wheat, red wheat coming out of PL 480. And then that is emphasizing the importance of green revolution. In one sentence, you have hit the chord of all oldies sitting there. मेरे जैसे आदमियों ने भी लाल गेहूं खाया है PL 480. तो हमने तो वो याद है कीड़ों वाला गेहूं हम खाते थे. तो हमारे लिए जो ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन की वैल्यू है वो बहुत ज्यादा है, राइट? तो अगर आप इस बात को एक सेंटेंस में बोल दोगे तो आपको इसका बेनिफिट ही मिलेगा, नुकसान नहीं होगा. लेकिन इस बात को आप सोचोगे आप 2 मिनट तक गाना गाओगे इसका, तो बोलेंगे बेवकूफ आदमी, बेवकूफ है, अपने फादर का इंटरव्यू देने आई या अपना इंटरव्यू देने आई. So you have to see the situation.
Just in the flow, we should
again balance and package your answers properly, right? So like this question again, if you are facing next time, please think of 2, 3, 4 different alternative, practice on that, and then realize कि यार ये ज्यादा बोलने से नुकसान हो जाएगा. ये मेरा छूट गया था, इस बार मैं अगर पूछा तो ये बोलूँ. तो again, I am telling you the process. You practice the process, you will become good in all answers automatically. Because एक बार प्रोसेस सीख लोगे ना, आई विल लाइक एक बार आप इंटरव्यू जीतने की तरीका अगर आपको आ जाता है तो आप हर इंटरव्यू जीतते हो. प्लीज रिमेंबर दैट बिकॉज यू नो द ट्रिक्स ऑफ द ट्रेड.
That if someone has done a certification course from Coursera or from some other such platform, should they be mentioning it, and if yes, then where?
This is very good question you are asking, because the chances are one or the other member will somehow get into technology, for example, right? And if he gets on to technology, AI ML आएगा ही आएगा, कहीं ना कहीं से घूमता फिरता AI ML घुस जाएगा. अब अगर उसने कोई कोर्स किया है जो टेक्नोलॉजी से रिलेटेड है, तो when he is giving answer to that question, he should package this. That, sir, though it is not mentioned in my DAF, but let me add, I have just completed this course, and then give the answer or package it at the end of the answer. Either way, he can package, or he can package this in between, depending upon उसको उस क्वेश्चन का जवाब आता है कि नहीं आता. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, उससे जो कोई पूछा गया उसको उसका तो जवाब आता नहीं, पर ये बीच में शुरू में ही पैकेज कर देता है कि मैंने कोर्स किया, तो चांसेस आर कि the person may start asking about Coursera's course, and वो क्वेश्चन छूट जाए. ये काफी अक्सर होता है इंटरव्यूअर के साथ कि अगर कोई बीच में बात दूसरी आ जाती है तो क्वेश्चन साइड में हो जाता है पुराना वाला. ये होता है रियल लाइफ में. So this should be told, but it cannot be told out of the context. I mean, आपका इंटरव्यू शुरू नहीं हुआ और आप बोलो जी मैं आपको कुछ बताना चाहता हूँ, लोग करते हैं, ऐसा भी गलत है. आउट ऑफ द वे बताना चाहते हैं कि डेफ में तो नहीं है, बट आई वुड लाइक टू have that recorded that I have done this course. And that is in UPSC, that is not a done thing. That may happen in other interviews, not here. So you should tell it at an appropriate point in the appropriate answer, depending upon the question. And if you don't get proper question, you cannot jump the gun and add that I have done this question. That's.
Can it be mentioned in this extracurricular activities or interests?
Come again?
Can this point be mentioned under the extracurricular activities or interests, the D part of 7 point, the course that
I don't think it fits in there.
Okay.
And that's number one. Number two, this has become so common. Everybody is doing online courses additionally, so I don't think it stands out to be told in the DAF form. लिख दोगे तो कोई नुकसान नहीं होगा, लेकिन कोई बहुत अच्छा उसका कोई फायदा भी नहीं होता. I would always think these things to be added in answering other questions, because that shows your humility and modesty also, that you did not, you brought only when required. Otherwise, आप अपनी तारीफ खुद नहीं कर रहे हो जबरदस्ती. So I think that angle should be seen also.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So does it matter on the length of the interview we are being interviewed for? Like for some people it goes on for 20 minutes, for some it goes on for 30 minutes.
Absolutely not. 30 minutes is fixed for everybody. Now, the difference could be maximum of 1 or 2 minutes, if at all. And that to be on the lower side, not on the higher side. Because slots are fixed. The president of the board has to complete the agenda for the day. Everything moves in order. So there's no way कि 30 minutes का 25 minutes या 35 minutes में हो जाए. No way. कभी अगर बहुत ज्यादा स्लिप हुआ तो 1 मिनट का, मैंने तो 2 मिनट का भी नहीं देखा था.
So like last year I gave the interview, it went on about for 23 minutes only.
23, that's perfectly fine. 23 minutes is perfectly fine, because sometimes what happens, you see, let me share with you, the Joint Secretary of UPSC, he comes to take the marks. And the marks are given by consensus. And it happens session by session. Session means forenoon and afternoon. So sometimes there could be delay of 2, 3, 4 minutes. For example, उसके आने में या जाने में कुछ देर हो गई तो किसी कैंडिडेट का 2, 4, 5 मिनट फर्क पड़ गया. 23 minutes is not, cannot be called unfair. Cannot be called unfair. If it was less than 20 minutes, I would have said no. I would not have even agreed to what you said. I would not have even agreed to that. 23 minutes is also rare, as far as my understanding goes. But 23 minutes is not unfair.
Sir, like for any question, let's assume we only know in bits and pieces, or we have very little knowledge. So should we go for an answer with that only, or we should apologize and like that? Like for example, they asked about quantum computer. So we just know that it works on quantum and not on the traditional bits. And right now Google have released something new, but we don't know that much. So should we go with this much knowledge, or should we apologize and move forward?
If I were in your place, I would have said, sir, with my limited understanding of quantum, if you permit, I would like to answer it like this. Then I would have defined what is quantum first. Then I would have talked about quantum computing. And I would have said whatever little I know about quantum computing. Okay. The idea is, because I know what is quantum, so why should I not tell them what I know about quantum? Why should I slip on that? Because quantum is too important to be missed out in today's world. Number one. Number two, latest is today's thing is quantum thinking. Okay. So there's quantum science, quantum physics, quantum communication, quantum this, quantum that. So you're talking about quantum computing and you are aware of something about quantum computing, you should share that. Because even in that area, that even little knowledge is a lot of knowledge. Let me share with you. Because even today, even in this classroom, I can bet 80% of the people cannot answer what is quantum. I can challenge that 80% of the people sitting here in this room cannot tell what is quantum. So if you fall in 20%, why should you not speak? So speak out, but always with a caveat. Now this caveat word is very important. So if you have said right in the beginning, sir, with my limited understanding, if you permit, can I start with what is quantum? And then briefly I'll talk about quantum computing. They will obviously say, you see, please remember one thing, whenever you take permission, whether पानी पीने की permission ले रहे हो, या इंग्लिश में हिंदी और हिंदी में इंग्लिश बोलने की परमिशन ले रहे हो, it is never that they will say no. But you have won a point because you had the decency and courtesy of taking permission. Please remember that. Now this many people don't understand. It's a game. It's a psychological game. आप एक पॉइंट जीत गए क्योंकि आपने पूछा और कहा कि मुझे कम आता है, मैं बोलूं कि नहीं. वो ऐसा बोलेगा ही नहीं कि मत बोलो. Yes, yes, please go ahead. ऐसे बोलेगा वो. आपको जितना आता है बोलिए. तो आपको जितना आता है आपने उतना शेयर किया, which is good enough because 80% of the people know nothing. You know at least something. So you score.
Sir, there is a paper kept there with a pen. So what is the purpose of that?
You see, paper and pen or paper and pencil, actually mostly it's pencil. Paper and pencil is kept there. And the purpose is many times, you see, especially those engineer kind of people and scientist kind of people ask formula, or sometimes they give you a situational thing which requires some kind of calculation. So that is the purpose of that paper. So that paper is, I would say, hardly 10% used. 90% of the times it's not used, but it is always asked in all other interviews. Like when I take interviews anywhere, I always ask the candidate that would you like to ask us anything? I always ask that. And let me tell you, when I take interview, my interview is always over in 3 questions. First question is, tell us something about yourself, because it is an open-ended question. I have given you a free leeway. You can speak anything. So if you can't capitalize on that, that means you're not a good candidate. And the last question, that would you like to ask anything from us, is an open invitation for you to ask me anything. So in corporate world, the guy can ask, what is my vision? What is my company's vision? What are the challenges I am facing, etc., etc. So that means I am testing candidate in opinion-related questions. Okay, this is nothing to do with fact. And these 2-3 questions, normally my interviews get over. Now coming back to your question, the first question when you said that the chairman, first of all, please correct, it's not chairman, the president of the board. Okay, chairman खाली UPSC का होता है, आप लोगों को सब गलत बताया जाता है chairman of the board. Okay, so first thing is that president of the board does not ask the first question which you said that he may ask, do you want to ask us any question? At least I have not heard even once. At least I have not heard even once. I have not seen even in transcript also, though I rarely see transcript. The second question was important. What was that second part? Yeah, that I don't think again could be asked at the end. Normally, to my understanding, not. But if it is left out, you should be prepared to answer that question. If that is asked, you should be prepared to answer that question. वो मैंने कहा अगर आप 3 रजिस्टर बना लोगे और अपने questions की तैयारी करोगे, तो you will be on such a strong wicket that you will know what is left out and you could immediately point out. So it is a question of your being prepared to handle the situation, that will take you through, right?
So obviously, it's you might by now you might have understood it is sir's skill, okay, which made all of you at least speak once, and I could see that and I'm sure not even 10% of your questions are answered. I'm very sure about it because we have been doing this interview thing. It's a very, very personal, because interview is personal thing. Personality means it's a person thing. And obviously there will be many questions which are only specific to you. Okay. Whatever sir tried that to answer general questions. Even if you see somebody was asking personal questions, sir made it clear that let me answer for all of you. And we are very clear. We know, we are aware that, still you have many questions that you like us to answer. Obviously, sir to answer, depending upon the time that you have and availability. And we'll try to make that, obviously, with the permission of the sir. If you have any further questions, we can have sessions. Okay. And for now, at least I hope that you have got the basic idea as to how your orientation, because what I have realized, and the kind of dialectic that was going on between what sir was trying to tell you and what you were coming up with because of maybe market effect, is clear cut dialectic synthesis that was required. I hope it happened. I don't know, because the whole approach that's what sir was asking you to change. It's not interrogation. Okay, on a lighter note, I was talking to sir. It's not KBC. You answer a point. It is a interaction in a flow. Okay, so already sir I hope, and I'm sure you would have understood that, have given that impression. Now you have to start upon this, your preparation. You have, and I'm very happy that you have got a chance to talk to sir, listen to sir at the right time, before filling DAF, and obviously you have at least 15-20 days, even if you're from the first list. Okay, so please try to build upon that. Now you need to have a right approach as to, it is a personality test. It is not an interrogation. It is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The very good example I was so impressed, and the sir gave. You can say, I don't know for 4 questions. Okay, sir talked about the example where the candidate gave the answer on the gender justice. All other answers were not very correct, but the last answer, that happens, in the language of cricket. You can leave 5 balls, but the last ball, if you can hit 6, its score is over. That's how interview is. Okay, so I hope you start building upon this now, rather than getting into unnecessary intellectual debates as to this and that. Okay, and we hope that we will be able to of some help to you. Okay, so I will be available anyway. Most of you already know, for any further this thing, and with the permission of the sir, whenever he is available, we'll let you know. Okay, and we'll make his access also available for you. And sir, thank you very much as usual. And one more thing, because sir comes here with a lot of enthusiasm that I can see, much more than, because later on, obviously you also picked up, but initially when what I could see, the level of energy that sir has, even now after 2.5 hours continuously talking, is really commendable, and something to be learned from. And he comes with that energy. It's not that we have been it's not some formal thing. We invite sir, say this and that. He himself is so eager to talk to students, and we are very happy. And that is the reason, the kind of interaction it went on. Okay, so sir, thank you very much for all the vibes and everything. Okay, and all the very best to all of you for the interview.
All the best.